to you. 1 in 4 Virginians has missing money. We've actually had the person come to our meeting. These are people who do not own their own house. Please go to the back table. Okay, last time we said, how many people here have bought property with 100% financing? Raise your hand. Financing for investment properties. There's no way we're going to cover every possible way to do it in these 2 sessions. I'll tell you that right now.
We got all day.
You might have all day. I don't have all day. I get $500 per hour. How much money you get an hour now, Alan? Have you worked it out yet?
No.
Y'all want to take up a collection? Have you worked out how much you get an hour? Okay. For resources, I'm going to hold up your book. There is how I turned $1,000 into, in 1 year, he raised it to $3 million in real estate. It started out being $8 million in real estate. Lowry Nickerson. This was William Nickerson. Next book is Lowry Nickerson. Nickerson's long gone. I think Al Lowry's still around. And thank you. There's Tyler Hicks. You're a good buddy, right?
Yeah, I
But me and
probably
knows
have
his
about
stuff.
7 of his books.
This was brand new. I bought it the day I met with you. You get this at Barnes & Noble. Here's an ad. No money down, fix and flip funding. I'll pass this around. Y'all can take a shot of it. This is on the back of Think Realty, one of their issues. I mean, it's everywhere. I mean, it's not a secret. Okay, last time we said, how many people here have bought property with 100% financing? Raise your hand. Would you please stand up and tell us how you did it?
How did you do it?
Well, we have new people here.
Yeah.
We had a guy here last time who bought apartment buildings, shopping centers with 100% financing. He's from DC. He didn't make it today. Go ahead, Clarence.
How did I do it? Well, I would say the first part of me doing it is getting out and networking and understanding what type of deals that maybe potential investors or lenders would like to have. I talk to my clients, if I know that they may have some money just sitting in a bank account, like, hey, would you rather have maybe 10% secured by some real estate? So I already will network and work who I can potentially go to. And then as I do deals, I just invite all my folks out to the different properties that I did. Hey, see what I got going on. And eventually they're like, man, Clarence, I want to do a deal. I got $30,000, Clarence. I'll do something with you. No, I'm telling you, this is real stuff. And so I'll primarily go find a private money lender. I'll talk about the house that I'm doing right now, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, near Timberlake Shopping Center. We're going to do an Airbnb on it. So I recently got with a private money lender. What they'll do is 85% of the purchase price, 100% of the rehab, subject to 75% of the ARV. And so basically I got to come with 15%, but I bought it right, so I just overinflated my rehab. So it's a timing difference, but then I have another client, what he does is the bridge funding. So I had to pay him within 60 days, but I know I'm getting all that money back within my draw. So he gives me $20,000, which is my down payment money. No money out of my pocket. That's how, in the most recent deal, I got 100% financing. So, there you go. And I'm Norfolk CPA.
Restore.
Oh, my God. To reiterate what Clarence was saying, I've done mine with private money, but I've had private money pay for 100% of my purchase price, as well as 100% of my rehab. Held that property for 6 months. I had to pay him interest for that 6 months. They wanted a payment every month of the money I borrowed. I kept it for 6 months to season the property. I then refinanced the property for almost $20,000 more than what I had paid and flipped it for. Paid him back all their money, put $10,000 in my pocket, and I'm cash flowing that property for $628 a month. Just no money out of there. I've had another deal where somebody didn't want their house anymore, so I bought it subject to the existing financing. They didn't have a lot of equity, so they actually paid me $3,000 to take their property. I did carpet paint, and I'm cash flowing that $400 a month. So you can do it, it's been fine. Your net worth is your network. Your network is your net worth, okay? The more people you know, the more deals you do, the more the deals come to you. I used to have people like Clara said, I got $30,000, I don't know what to do with it. I'm like, get together with 3 or 4 other people, put it all together, and then give me your money and we'll do something. My last investor said, I got $300,000, I don't know what to do with it. I'm giving him 10% interest. You know, my last project ran a month over. I'm like, he's not going to work with me again. He's like, I'm getting another $300,000 on top of that. Can you spend that too? Yes, I can. So you can definitely do it. Yes.
Can we be friends? My name's Kevin.
Yes.
That person that you said they had a house that they didn't want anymore, how did you find that out about them?
So the more you're in this game, and I always say that everybody talks about marketing, right? Your biggest marketing tool is your network and passion. When I first started being an investor, it was in 2010, and tried telling somebody, I'm getting into flipping houses, and they looked at you like you had a third eye. Okay? Don't be afraid to talk to people about what you do. You never know when a lead's going to come in. You never know when somebody has knowledge you don't. Sandra mentioned earlier, just in a conversation with Clarence, or a conversation with somebody, she heard about Clarence, or brings Clarence in the mix. So it may not be the person you talk to. We've had more and more deals come in because someone said, hey, so my friend's barber's niece's dog just said that you know, that kind of thing. Have them call us. You just don't know where that lead's going to come from. And we make more money off of stuff like that. If anybody is doing flipping or wholesaling and they have business cards, it was like, oh, pass out to everybody I know. I go to restaurants and I leave them in the menu.
That's smart.
Because someone's going to open that thing up and go, what the heck is this? And it's nice and pretty colored, and the first thing they see is $500 cash. Then they want to read it. It may not, but cards are so cheap. It may not produce very often, but how many deals does it take to make that back?
A couple of the most interesting deals I have ever done over the past. One, I was showing a property to a client, and I said, gee, I wished I'd seen this house before you, because I really love it. And for some reason, they needed to move. So they called me up and they said, hey, you want the house? I said, you bet. I want this house. I loved it. So they just signed it over to me. That was no money down, 100% financing. But I was going to live in that house. It was an investment property. And then I had a client that was, actually he was a general. And he was going overseas for 6 weeks. I don't know why he was going overseas. I never really asked him. And he came back 6 weeks later. Before he left, I skipped over a part. Before he left, he said, I want to buy an apartment building, nothing too big, maybe 30, 40 units. I said, okay. Well, this was in the DC area. It wasn't as hard there as it is here to find an apartment building. And I was relatively new in that area of investments. So I called my mentor and I said, I have a client who wants to buy an apartment building. He'd like to have it structured, no money down. He said, no problem. He said, we'll go out. He said, he's coming back 6 weeks, no problem. So we went and made a few visitations and we got an apartment building. We structured it for no money down with a second mortgage. So I'm sitting there, all righty, we got ourselves a deal, The guy comes back, he said, my whole life has changed. He's given me a $5,000 retainer, he's given me a $5,000 deposit. And this was a long time ago. Now, that was a lot of money then. So he comes back, he says, my whole life has changed. I'm thinking, this is a general. A general is pretty regimented. How does your whole life change in 6 weeks? I never asked him. I still would like to know, but I never asked him. He says, you can keep the retainer, you can keep the deposit, you can keep the contract. Okie dokie, what am I going to do with it? A contract on 30-unit apartment building. Outside of Quantico, by the way. Great location, but it needed work. I didn't have a clue. So, what I did, I found the most logical purchaser, who was a person who worked for HUD, and at the time, there was a lot of money to fix up apartments. So I said, I sold it to her, no money down. And I created a third trust note for $30,000. So not only did I buy it for no money down, I purchased it for him for no money down. So he bought it for no money down, I bought it for no money down, and I sold it for no money down, and I created a third mortgage. It was a great deal for everybody, and there was nobody anywhere along that way who even hesitated about the no money down or the 100% finance. Nobody. So evidently it does happen every single day. As you said last month, these situations occur every day.
Because anybody who has money that doesn't know what to do with it, most investors, and I don't want you all to become investors, I want you to become entrepreneurial investors. Your standard investor is very happy with 10% return. I love these people. I mean, I truly do. I'm giving them a great rate all day long, maybe 10% on your money, APR, simple interest. If I'm not making at least 35%, I'm not happy on my ROI, which is return on investment, cash on cash investing. Most of the deals that I do, I'm a minimum of 80% ROI in my first year on cash on cash. Half the deals I do, I'm zero money in. So if I'm zero money in and I'm making money, that's all icing on the cake. Does it make sense?
Now, many people will tell you have to get away from institutions. There are institutions in this area who don't have a problem at all when you do 100% finance on investment property. We had a person who used to come to our meetings named Sherry Pop, who's currently, her position is vice president of Old Point National Bank. She would all day long give you a 20% second position on a property you own so that you could get 100% financing on a property you were buying. In other words, you own an investment property or a property you live in, either one, didn't matter, and you could get 80% loan from someplace else, and you'd have 100% financing. And it was all above board, she didn't care. And again, she's vice president of a bank. Not even a credit union, a bank.
You got her card?
Old Point National Bank, Chesapeake, Greenbrier,
Right off the Eden Way.
Sherry Pop, P-O-P-P. I don't know which branch she's in now. But again, if you email me, tell me what you need, I'll send it to you. It's in my email. Anybody know what a savings and loan is?
They still have those?
I'm glad you asked that question, Alan. We actually had somebody in our meeting when I brought this up the last time who had a loan from them. Yes. Anybody heard of Elizabeth Savings and Loan?
Over in Portsmouth downtown.
That's right. Do you have a loan through them?
I had 17 through them at one time, but that was when Mr. Barkley and Mr. Wendell was alive.
Well, now it's the Winbros. And Elizabeth Winbro is, Kathleen Winbro is my contact there. And I'm not sure of her relationship, but Mr. Winbro, didn't write down his first name, is the director, so I'm sure she's pretty much related to them.
First one broke passed away, but the second one broke.
So you tell us more, because you know more, you seem more in tune with
I've
them.
been dealt with them in a very long time. I got more into construction more, but they're pretty much, when you go borrow money from them, they'll come out, they don't do credit checks. Well, how do they do credit checks now? But the thing about it is they'll come and look at the property, they'll charge you, I think, $100 inspection fee, and they'll tell you what they think the property's worth to them, not what it's worth on the market, or they'll say, okay, we'll loan you this amount of money right here, and if it's worth it to you, if you have any money down, have any money to put towards it, it's a great opportunity. But once you develop that relationship with them, they feel comfortable with you. And you might have to put $30,000 down on a property. Like as you keep doing more and more properties with them, they'll come to you and say, look, we got this foreclosure. Are you interested in it? That's how I got so many properties at one time, because they had so many properties that people was foreclosing on, and they didn't fulfill their obligations or whatever. But it's based on relationships with them. So once you get a relationship with them and you start doing more and more properties, they keen along you more and more to the resale value or something like that. They do hold properties if you want to live in it, but the interest rates are kind of high for that scenario.
13% was the last quote I had from them. That was a while back.
Yeah.
And who is them? I didn't hear the beginning of it.
Elizabeth Savings and Loan. They have loaned up to 100+% on property. That's no guarantee they're going to loan you 100%.
And what's the name of their?
It's called Elizabeth Building and Loan in downtown Porcelain.
Building and loan?
I think I work with their son. I've been talking to him about real estate, and he's the one bro, and he said that his parents, he's actually asked his parents some questions for me, and they lend. But, okay.
And I think they're one of the last companies to do what they do now. Once they go out of business, once they pass away, they can't do it anymore. So it's this, it's how it was structured back in the day, and you have to be a board member. But once all the windows pass away, they can't.
I think she told me there's 2 in the United States, 2 savings and loans in the United States.
Yeah. And the way the structure was, how they was structured, once all the board members pass away, they have to close down. But I think the youngest board member is maybe 45, 50, something like that.
I don't know if Elizabeth is on the board, but she's probably somewhere between 40 and 50.
Yeah, and then there's Patsy. She's the one who's been there the longest to me. And Elizabeth didn't come in until.
It's been a while. It was before my husband died, since I've been over there.
But yeah, once you develop a relationship with them, they are a good contact.
Very nice people. Very nice people. But it was 13% at the time interest. I don't know what it is now. And he's absolutely right. It's a relationship based, which is everything. Everything. So we talked about that. There is at least one private investor that I know of. I say hard money lenders, private investors, I don't know. I mean, I don't really see the difference, except that there are some who are trying to rip you off, and I'm not putting them in this category. I mean, just be careful. When you new people, when somebody says to you, I gotta have money up front to process your loan before they even go to closing, run as fast as you can go. That's a scam. Okay? I'm not talking about an application fee of $100 or appraisal fee. I'm not talking about those things. I'm talking about, oh, we got to have insurance or we got to have this or that. That's a scam. If people want to charge you to process your loan and it's thousands of dollars, there's no loan. Would you agree, Alan?
Yep.
That's not a loan.
We've done deals, we had somebody else do a deal almost identical to ours, and we were gonna bring, because you had to put some skin in the game, so you were gonna bring like $9,000 to closing, and they were gonna bring $9,000 to closing, and then 3 days beforehand, they called up, so we looked at your deal, we'll still do it, you gotta bring 35. And they wanted, passion's great, numbers don't lie. They went ahead and they pushed the deal, they went way over on what they should have done, ended up taking almost, you're trying to recoup their money, they raised the price, which just meant they held the house longer. So they held the house over a year on hard money. So when all said and done, they finally dropped the price down, sold it, and lost $30,000. Any hard money worth their salt wants you to make money. If you're making money, they're making money, and they want to do it again.
So, anyway, I know of at least one lender that will allow you to hold, they'll loan 90%, they will allow you to have the other 10% against another property. Doesn't have to be in cash someplace in the bank. It'd be just like the situation I was talking about with Old Point. It could be collateral against another property. Similar to a situation that Clarence was talking about. In fact, I think you were here when Ignatius was talking
I've
about
done that
this.
several times myself. I've done that several times.
Okay. So, yeah, so there are several ways to do that. I mean, it's above board, it's, everybody knows about it, and it goes on all the time, folks. It's not that hard to do. And then, how many people here have insurance policies they can borrow against? Well, only one person? Or do you even know? Have you ever checked? 2 people.
I can borrow like, against my daughter's policy, $5 right now.
Well, I didn't even know I could borrow against my insurance policy until, I guess my husband died, and I forgot to make the payments. I called him up and said, hey, I forgot to make a payment. They said, well, that's no problem. We just borrowed against your policy and made the payment for you. I said, oh, really? I didn't know I had cash value in my policy. So, you know, you may very well have it. And if you do, you could borrow against your insurance policy and use that as down payment. Then you have 100% financing.
Hope you don't die.
I'm sorry?
And hope you don't die.
What if you don't have it?
I said, and hope you don't die.
Well, even if you do die, it doesn't matter. You still have insurance. It doesn't negate your insurance. It just negates that you can't borrow that money against your policy because you
So when
already
you
did.
borrow, I thought when you borrow, okay, correct me if I'm
It
wrong.
reduces your face value once you pass away. Your heirs, it was just reduced. So whatever you owe on that cash value, it was just reduce your face value of it.
So I'm gonna say again, and hope you don't die.
Wow.
Well, if you die, you inherit the property that you bought. Which is probably worth a whole lot more.
I'm just saying, I have insurance, but I don't,
It's a matter
it's
of,
not enough to borrow off of it.
this is a possibility. We're not talking about you as an individual. We're talking about a general way to get 100% financing.
So that's what I say, when I say that out loud, I want you to help me understand, how do I do that, and then I die and my family be left in the ring? That's the only thing I can think of. when
It's
you say
all
that.
an individual decision. The only time I can make an individual suggestion to you is on a one-on-one. This is not a one-on-one, this is a group
I got
situation.
you, okay.
But that's a legitimate question you have to ask yourself. You have to do a Ben Franklin sheet. These are pros, these are cons.
Yeah.
I'm looking at a situation where how do I buy this property? Well, here's some alternatives. And do I want the property or do I want the insurance policy? I mean, that's, you know, everybody's got to go through that. Which one do I want more? Me, I'd keep the insurance policy. I'm more concerned with my quality of life than I am with dying. I paid for my kids all kinds of stuff. They can pay for my burial. Right? I'm gonna be cremated. How much is that gonna cost?
Whatever they get, they can afford it.
Hey, my kids are very well off. They can't afford to burn me. They can bury me in the backyard with a dog. Come here and take up a collection. Who'll give a quarter? Going once, going twice? It's a very legitimate question, but, you know, that's why there's alternatives. Don't like that one? How about,
Retirement account.
yeah, retirement account.
Borrow
What about a
against that.
retirement account?
Yeah, borrow against your retirement account, pay it back within 5 years, generally. It won't, well, let me backtrack. Typically, you prematurely take money out of a retirement account, you're gonna be hit with a 10% penalty. In addition to that money that you pull out, it's gonna be added to your current year income base, which means you're paying taxes on it, which is probably gonna bump you up another tax bracket. So you could borrow $100,000 and be paying $40,000 in taxes on. I mean, taking out $100,000 and paying $40,000 in taxes on that. But if you borrow against it, that's not considered income, and that's not considered a premature distribution. But in certain cases, you can borrow up to 5 years. As long as you pay it back for 5 years, there's no penalty for that. So you just got some money sitting in a retirement account, and you think this deal is going to give you a higher ROI, as he was saying, then with your retirement account is paying, then borrow money.
Or if you got a Roth account, which is, you pay your taxes going in, it comes out free. You got money in your Roth and you negotiate a deal, buy the property in your Roth. You don't get any money, but it all keeps going into your Roth. It doesn't matter how much your Roth earns. You can put like, what was it, 5,500 right now? 6,500 a year?
Yeah, they changed it slightly, but it's
Slightly,
around that
okay.
every year.
So I got a friend of mine that put his $5,500 in. He does it every single year, and he put $175,000 of earnings in it last year. By wholesaling, by buying properties that are collecting rent, doing cash flow. He doesn't need the money because he's doing all right. He had this money in his account, so I'm going to make it work for me. His Roth currently owns 3 different properties. As those properties get paid off, that's all equity. When he's ready to retire, he can sell all those properties, all that money's in his Roth IRA, and it comes out tax-free. Is that correct? So he's going to have a few $1,000,000 in his account when he's ready to retire. Just by a couple of moves now. And if you're wholesaling, what do you pay for a wholesale contract? Anybody know? Anybody wholesale? I used to put about $100 down. You put 0 down, whatever, at least $1. Make something of equitable value. You know, I have no problem with $100 down. People say, "Oh, that sounds good." So the check comes out of my Roth IRA. If I make $15,000 on that deal, that goes into my Roth IRA. That's earnings, not deposit. That now becomes $15,000 tax-free. As it grows through the years, that's all tax-free money. So if you can work a few deals, put that money away, let it grow. When it comes time for retirement, hopefully you'll all still be around. Pull that out and have fun.
Tiffany had a really good idea. Why don't you share your idea with us, Tiffany? Oh, anyone. We'll give you time to get it together.
So, what I'm thinking about doing right now is moving out of my 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom house and renting it out. So, me and my kids will go stay with my mother, or I'm currently looking for a VA foreclosure property that I can own or occupy, and then I'll stay in that for a year and eventually rent that out as well. So that's what I'm looking to do on top of purchasing a rental.
That's a great idea.
Where are you looking for the VA foreclosure?
All over. Chesapeake, Norfolk, Virginia Beach.
Well, I mean, so is there a certain website you're going to, like HUD Home?
No, she has an agent that I referred her to.
So the agent's helping you,
Yes.
sending you?
Just send me a list of properties. It automatically updates. 8 o'clock every morning, I get a listing.
You need a particular agent who's familiar with working with investors and the VA properties and how that works.
Well, now the VA offers a rehab loan similar to the FHA 203K. So you're right, I mean, having an agent that knows where to look
And aren't you also thinking about something 500 or more per room? that you
Oh,
want?
yeah. So Alan was saying, and I forgot, Terry was saying about ODU students. I don't stay too far from Old Dominion University. So I definitely want to consider renting out each room for maybe $500 to $600. And then I even have, I call it extra dining room, but as soon as you walk in my house, you can convert that into another bedroom possibly. Because we have a dining room and then we have the kitchen that's open to a huge living room. But that is a possibility. And then downstairs, I have a half bath. I have a closet directly behind that half bath. We can knock out that closet and make it a bathroom, maybe a stand-up shower, toilet, sinks already there. So we'll just need everything for the walk-in or stand-up shower. So definitely an opportunity that I'm in on the side of my house. And I have one single car attached garage, but the detached garage can eventually be upgraded to a studio or something like that as well to really maximize. But I'll have to wait till the money starts flowing in, and then if I rent it out per room, dump that money into making an additional studio and maximize.
Make sure you stay up to codes.
A lot of old ladies with stove in there, if they have like a hot plate or something.
Okay, it's plenty of room for that, yeah.
That wasn't the idea I was thinking about.
Oh, I'm sorry. There's so much going on in his head.
That's just what happens when you get into going and thinking. How about credit cards?
Yeah, so you can do a lot of different things with credit cards. The more, I should say, savvy investors, they use credit cards to get in the game and use it as skin in the game with investment. If you do have a credit card balance, you can also look for credit cards, new credit cards, and transfer your balance to pay that debt down quickly instead of all of the payments you're making now going towards interest. So that's the things you can do with credit cards as well. Definitely do your research on all of it. I'm up late every night doing research.
Or you could get a no interest credit card.
Yes. Yes. Definitely transfer your debts. to
Depending
no
on what
interest
your
one.
what your credit score is. They're always offering credit cards if you're trying to come up with cash. You have to be very, very careful though to make sure you pay it back. You can't just run balances and then don't pay it off when you sell the house or refinance the house. You have to make sure this is a very precarious area that I don't like to mess with myself, and I don't recommend people do it. But if you have to come up with money to get your 100% financing, it is a resource that people do use. Everybody know what I'm talking about?
Just make sure you have it paid off on time. Because you get 18 months no interest, there are some cards that will backdate all your interest if you're not paid off. So I know a young lady in California who charged up almost $50,000, transferred it to a no interest card. She's like, oh, it's no interest, I'm paying it down. But she comes due, I think in March, and I'm like, we realize, looked at her terms, that it's gonna become retroactive for all the interest she owed for a year. It's at 22%. She's gonna get hit for about, oh my gosh, I'm 50, so about $12,500 in one shot. She goes, well, I'll transfer it to a new no interest card. Now nobody would give her a card because she has so much debt. But they can be used. I use credit cards all the time in my company. I charge probably $75,000 in credit in the past 4 months. I use it like cash. I charge it, I pay it off, and then I collect all the reward miles for flying. So I fly first class for free. Well, actually it costs about $11.20 per ticket. You know, in 4 months I gained, because of the bonuses, about 250,000 miles of flying. You can get it for hotels, car rentals, all 9 yards. Start playing the game when you get into it. Start using your money the way rich people use their money to benefit yourself. But if you get caught behind that curveball, if I charge 25 grand, I don't pay it off, I'm gonna start paying 22% interest. I didn't care because they're giving me credit cards for $60,000, $70,000 that I can spend on. I try not to, although if I do, I'm having a really good month. But all it is for me is a reward. It's an extra step. Instead of paying it directly from the checking account, I charge it on the card and then pay it from the credit account. I never pay a dime with interest. That's using your credit cards to the best ability you can.
That is so crucial. make your money work for you more than once. When they say make your money work for you, they mean make it work for you. So important. Okay. Now there is another institution that has a way that you can do no money down. Oh, before I get to that, I want to talk about lines of credit. Since we talked about banks, you could establish a line of credit. And as long as we're talking about banks, when you open a bank account, please do not go to the teller and open a bank account. Anybody hear what I just said? Do not go to the teller and open a bank account. And don't go to the person sitting at the desk and open a bank account. Find out where the president or the vice president of the bank works and go there and talk to them. I don't care if you got $500. Go to the highest person in that bank and establish a relationship. You're not going to, man's shaking his head. He knows exactly what I'm talking about, right? They're not going to say, oh, you only got $500. My time's too bad. We'll sit down with you. They don't know how much money you got. They don't know how much money you're going to have. They just know that you're a customer, you're a client, and you may have more money someplace else. And if they're the president of that bank or vice president of that bank, they're going to treat you with the utmost respect. They're going to presume you're going to have money. I've been around long enough to know when somebody walks in my office and they look like the dregs of the earth, they might be the richest man that ever walked in that office. I've had that experience. I have had people walk past. I mean, in the real estate business, when I got in it, they had an up system. And if people don't want to work with that person, guess who got that person? Me. The newest person in the office. Oh, we don't want that person. Oh, no, well, you want that. Let her take it. And I got the richest man in the city because of that. Who immediately bought 8 houses for me that week. Wow. And everybody said, oh, we should have had them. We want those. That should have been our business. We want that person, okay? It happens every day. And the highest up person in that bank knows it. And they're going to treat you with respect. So you go find the highest up person in that bank. Not the person in that city. Not the person in that street, not the most convenient person for you to get to, but the highest person in that bank. If you got to travel to Newport News to get them, and you live in Virginia Beach, you go to Newport News. You all hear what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay. And if your bank where you're at now isn't treating you with respect, get out of that bank. So, and then when you do get some money, or you need money, after you've opened a bank account, first you open a checking account, then you open a savings account, and you get some money in there in that savings account just as quick as you can, and you open a line of credit. And then when you've got a line of credit, then you borrow again. When you get a savings account, you borrow against it and get a line of credit. It might only be $1,000, and anything that you read is going to tell you to do this, except the part about the president of the bank. Okay. That's how you start getting 100% financing. We're back to the relationship again. Who was the person that first said relationship? Whoever it was is so right on. This is probably in your cash flow game, isn't it? Somewhere.
Not in the cash flow game, but I do live by that rule.
Yeah, I mean, you got to. Like, you're in money business.
Yeah. I keep my banker's cell phone in my cell phone.
Anyway, enough of that soapbox.
Get a line of credit, are you saying like to use your primary residence as collateral, or you just saying get an unsecured line of credit?
Unsecured line of credit.
Okay, because I know like Langley Federal, they do a program to help people with bad credit or trying to establish credit where they'll only do 1,000, but they don't actually give you the 1,000, and they pay that loan back for you out of the money from the loan just to help build your credit score quicker. They're the only ones I know that have a program like that right now, but is that what you're saying? It's just any line of credit?
You don't have to have bad credit, you have to have good credit. You should make a point though.
No, I'm not saying it. I'm asking you just to open a line of credit unsecured. Or when it's security,
Oh, it's secured. It's secured by your savings account.
so we can have $1,000 in our savings to get $1,000 line of credit. So that's the same thing.
It's a secured line of credit. You gotta start secured before you get unsecured. It's like when you have a secured credit card.
Well, only because I'm learning about key locks and how they work and the best way to use them, so I had it on my head. Like, do you want to have collateral behind your line of credit, or like which way is?
I don't know of
Yes.
any bank that will give you an unsecured line of credit regardless of who you are. Do you?
No.
Not around here.
Like a personal one? I guess I don't want credit, but it's the same brand.
They call them credit cards. No, I'm talking about a secured line of credit. Okay, so talking about institutions, y'all might remember the name of Eva Fernandez. She works for. Am I allowed to say where else you work? Who else you work for?
Yes, you are.
Okay. She also works for, and they have a program called
Mortgage 100.
How to Finance Your Home. Well, no, that would be an individual thing. What do they call it when you can do it for an investor?
Mortgage 100, where you can pledge your asset and we give you 100%
Can you all hear her?
You
Okay.
hear me? Mortgage 100.
Okay. This is another way you can do 100% financing. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, so I already gave the example earlier where you can pledge your asset, your investable asset, and we give you 100% financing. And so once the loan to value is back at 80%, we'll release the pledge account. And also, you don't necessarily, a lot of clients think they have to close their existing investment accounts and transfer it back over to transfer it to us. You don't. So depending on what you're invested in, if that's what you like, you can keep the same investments. We just transfer it to Merrill Lynch account.
What's the minimum that you need to have in, and I'm assuming you're talking about equity, like securities and stuff?
Yes. Yeah.
What's the minimum that you need to have in your account?
Well, there's no percent minimum. Depends on the asset that you have and also the house that you want to purchase.
So just for easy numbers, if you're talking about 80% loan to value, if I find a property that you appraise for $100,000 and I negotiate that deal for $80,000, I don't bring any money to the table. Do we understand that? So if you negotiate a property for 80% of the value of that property, you don't have to bring 20% to the table. It's zero money. You might have some closing costs, but if I gotta spend $2,000 on closing costs and I could approximately cash flow me, it's $400 a month. It's almost $5,000 a year. I paid $2,000 to get it. It's 250% ROI. Numbers don't lie. Be passionate about real estate, but numbers don't lie. It's a deal, go for it. It's not a deal, walk away. And you cry. Because in no-doc loans, they're not calling them no-doc loans anymore. They're coming back. Anybody's ever watched the movie The Big Short?
Oh yeah.
A great movie. That's what happened, no-doc loans. Government-backed loans. They're coming back. They're not calling them that, but this is kind of like what it is. You're not qualifying on your income. Some still do some bank statements. They're not qualifying on debt to income for that. So you get a property. What they might do is say you want 6 months worth of rent in your bank account to show that you can pay that if needed. So I buy a property. So I get $10,000 here. Oh, that covers your 6 months rent, you're good. I buy another property, I use the same 10 grand. I get 6 months worth of rent. Oh, you're good. It's how it works, it's a game. You play the game right. People that got in trouble back in 2008 played it wrong. If you're smart about what you do, you can build a rental portfolio very quickly and start cash flowing. That's what everybody should be doing. in my opinion. I could be wrong.
Does everybody know that Alan is a professional investor? Just want to establish your credentials.
We have 2 rules when it comes to real estate. Number 1, do anything you want that you're passionate about. Number 2, let real estate pay for it.
I like that.
I attended an event where basically the guy talked about he went bigger, so he went apartments, but because he put, his cash flow basically like how many doors do I have to look at so basically my question to you is, do you think it's harder or to do, one property versus doing an apartment?
It depends who you talk to. I have a friend of mine, Phil Capron, who 2.5 years ago had 2 doors. He now has 245. He's a happy man. Okay? And he's been trying to get me into big units. So I'm like, I don't want to go more than like 10, maybe 20, because I'm scared of that space. I don't know what. Now I'm like, I want 200. Because 200, I can put a management team in place, they handle everything, and I'll go look at it. All I do is collect a paycheck. So I'm working with that. He also just came out with a book called Use Your VA Loan to Become a Millionaire. VA Loan to Become a Millionaire.
Your VA loan.
VA Loan. Shameless plug. Your VA loan, how it can make you a millionaire. That's the name of the book. Phil Capron.
Are you done?
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay. All right. Anybody else have anything to share?
All right, so I want to share one other thing. I'm in the process of finalizing a book. It's called 10 Rules for Entering the Business Startup Game. So it's about entrepreneurial empowerment. And I have a musical soundtrack that goes with the book. It follows a hip-hop format, and so all of my songs deal with business, entrepreneurship, and real estate. So I want to share one of the verses from one of my songs. It's called Funded. And Funded is about creative financing outside of the traditional banking system. And so I just want to, and believe it or not, some of the things that we talked about today, this song encompasses that. So, I will get the billions, legacy for my children, fire my dead end job, commence the dream building, house delegate and scratch from real estate billings, without a bank, I done copped a couple apartment buildings, Norfolk CPA, yeah, I spent the bank flow, holla at Lori Grenier, I want that Shark Tank dough. It is a fact, Equifax can't hold me back. I can raise racks even with a low FICO. Got private money even when my credit's quite low. Equity and property, so I just might go. Get lines of credit based on real estate and blue chips. Leverage the cash that I'll put into a new flip. Monopoly, 4 greenhouses, get the red hotel. Depreciation, cash flow, makes your dough grow well. 25 G's from a 401, I bought that. Flipping in 5 years and give it all back. No 10% penalty, no income tax. Money I lost before, it's time to win some back. I mean, when all that verb is, I'm too fly. No business as a sole prop, that's rule 5. Sole props like sex without the latex. Get your LLC, don't increase your paydex. Dun and Bradstreet, listen what I say next. People better pay me. ADP paychecks. Norfolk CPA with you, and that's a safe bet. Winning in this track meet, we ain't start the race yet. Ain't gotta use my social entities with EINs. Hard money man on speed dial, yeah, he's my friend. People pull out their cash to do deals with me. We pay more than a savings or a CD. So if you're having credit problems, I feel bad for your son. I got 99 investors in the bank, ain't one.
I think we got what we need.
It's in his element. Wow.
I think this meeting is over.